We've been able to generate right around $1 million in online sales with an audience of less than 5,000 people doing exactly what I'm about to walk you through in this video. And so if you're an online coach and you're looking to increase the amount of calls that you book, clients that you sign, and cash flow that your business takes in, then this video, I hope, will be extremely helpful for you. Now, if you've already been doing things to grow your business, like you've been posting the content, you've been having the conversations, basically you haven't just been sitting on your hands, like you're actually out there putting in effort, but despite your effort, you're still coming up with inconsistent months where some months you have, some calls booked, some clients coming in, some cash coming in, others you are, very inconsistent with the amount of calls that you book, clients that you sign, and cash that you collect. Maybe it feels like you're chasing leads, or maybe you're putting out content. Like a lot of our clients, before they come to us, they put out content and maybe they're giving away ebooks or lead magnets or whatever. And people are like, I love your stuff. It's so good. You're so motivational, but they're not buying from you. I'm going to show you what to do to fix that right here and right now. Because you got to understand this, that there is an old way of doing things and there's a newer, more efficient way of doing things with like the digital economy that we're now in. And so the old way of doing things is kind of like the leads buy or die. So whether you're running organic content to DM conversations to calls, or you've been running ads to a landing page to a call calendar, it doesn't matter. What a lot of people do is the direct response way of doing things is like, let's get people onto a list and you'll have a certain time frame where you're going to be following up with them. And if they don't buy within that time frame, they kind of just go onto this like big list and they just rot and die there. Well, the problem with that now is that in 2023, even going into 2024 now, like there's no shortage of people that are doing what you do. There's so much information out there. There's so many other coaches that are helping people in weight loss, health, fitness in general, business coaching, life coaching, you name it, they're helping people. And so in order for you to win and actually be able to create more consistency off of whether you have a tiny audience or a big audience, is being more top of mind. It's being more efficient with the leads that you have. And that's exactly how we've been able to do it myself with my company, is we've been really, really good at managing the leads that we have. And I'm going to walk you through the pipeline that we use, the different stages that we use. I'm going to give you like the convo hierarchy, so we always know the hottest leads to talk to. And I'm going to give you some scripts that we've used that have worked really well, no matter where people are in our pipeline, whether they're, colder, warmer leads, or whether they're like smoking hot leads. I'm going to show you what we've done that works extremely well. So the big insight that I want you to take away, then we'll unpack this, is that like the old way is like people just end up on a list and, follow up happens for a little bit, but then, people just on this list and they just kind of rot and die. The new way is having a bit more efficiency with your follow-up process. There's different softwares and technology that you can use to leverage that, so you're not having to put all the time into it. So with that being said, I am going to pop on over and I'm going to share my screen. The first thing I want you to understand, though, actually, before we dive into the pipeline, is a lot of this will become extremely helpful for you when you have a really good kind of social tribe funnel, that we call it, and an inbound content system in place. So if you don't have like any means of actually like growing your audience at all, like I'm going to show you what you could do with the audience that you already have, but you want to have a way to drive traffic to your page, right? There's many ways to do it, and I've done videos on this before. But then the bigger part is you want to have an inbound content system, meaning you want to have a content system that's built off of psychology and that leads your audience through an emotional journey. And this is by using the right hooks that speak to their pains, to their aspirations. You want to have content that connects with them. Essentially, you want to not just build the know, like, and trust, but you want to be able to build thought leadership within your audience. And this is something that we heavily teach inside the In-Demand Coach. But just understand that what I'm about to walk you through becomes a lot easier when you do have an effective content system in place where you're constantly hooking your audience in, you're using call to actions that get people interested. It just makes having conversations a heck of a lot easier. Okay. And so with that being said, an efficient lead nurture process, when it comes to conversations, we have what's called the 3-10-30 rule. And the 3-10-30 rule is based off of the idea that you should always have at all times, every single day, 3 people that you can make call offers to in your audience. 3 people. Even if you don't need to book 3 calls a day or offer 3 calls a day, you should always have the ability to offer 3 calls a day. And if you don't have the ability to offer 3 calls a day, you should start 10 meaningful conversations with people. Now, we're not talking about cold DMing here. We're talking about your warm audience, like your Facebook friends, your Instagram followers, people engaging with your stories, people responding to your call to actions on your posts. Like, that's who I'm talking about. And if you don't have 10 meaningful conversations you can start, your job is to have 30 chat starts with that warm audience. You actually go start the chat. Now, I'll break that down more in a moment. First, I want to show you an effective lead nurture pipeline. So the key here is you should never be managing your DMs. You always want to be managing a pipeline. And so here's how this rule applies. And what we found is this, off of an audience, a smaller audience, you should be able to book 7 to 14 calls a week using this rule. Now, this is all based off of this pipeline, of course. So what we consider the start of a lead nurture pipeline is chat started. So a chat starts with somebody. You can start a chat, and again, I'm gonna show you some scripts in a moment on different ways you can go about this. But you can start chats with people that are obviously a bit hotter, that are like responding to your call to actions in your content. You could start chats with people watching your stories. You can start chats with your friends, with your followers. It's a really easy way to start chats. And this is like the first part of the pipeline. And then the second part, and this gets a little bit hot, like these leads start to get warmer, is meaningful conversations. When you're having a meaningful conversation, it means that you've had like 3 to 4 back and forths, not just like, hi, hey, how you doing? Great. But like an actual, the conversation is becoming meaningful. You'll have to kind of assess what that means to you. And then the third part of the pipeline is where you would have the calls that you offered. And so you should be able to offer 3 calls to people in meaningful conversations, especially when you're following content strategies that we share and we talk about and teach in the In-Demand Coach. And then you want to be able to, and the fourth part is like the calls booked. So out of the calls offered, how many of them booked? These are the people in this part of your pipeline. And then of course, not everybody's going to show, unfortunately. So the calls that show, these people go to this part of the pipeline. And then in is where they've exchanged money for your services, for your program. They're officially in. And then the back half of the pipeline is they're out. Now, important note here is people might be out, but not forever. People are I can't tell you, and this is where this is one of the secrets to how we've been able to generate so much revenue off a small audience, is we know how to follow up with people. We know how to nurture people. And so we've had so many people that were in our out part of our pipeline end up becoming in and became some of the best clients we've ever had, because they were out for that season, but they weren't out forever. So it's important to note, and this is where a lot of people leave their leads to die, but not us and not you. And then you have your short-term follow-up and you have your long-term follow-up. So these are going to typically be people that you've already had calls with, or you've been deep enough in chat and they just weren't ready yet. You're going to put them in one of these lists. And then you have your past clients. Past clients are the best people to buy, especially if there was a good connection and a good fit, because they've already bought from you. And so you can easily make them more direct offers, which I'll share with you in a moment. And then lastly, you have your hot list. I highly recommend that you're always keeping a hot list of leads that are either inbound or you've been deep enough in the conversation that you just intuitively know that they can become clients. If you've been in business for any length of time, you probably can relate to just knowing that certain leads are really, really hot and you want to be able to prioritize them, because I'm going to show you some scripting that you can use to be able to book more calls and create more sales from your hot list. And so this is the pipeline. And so the most important thing to understand here is that what most businesses do is they if you think about a bucket and filling the bucket with water and the bucket has holes in it, there's holes coming out every side. And so most businesses are just constantly trying to fill leads up. But whoa, imagine plugging the holes in the bucket and then nurturing the bucket, nurturing the water, caring for the water. Okay, we'll just switch back to caring for the leads, nurturing the leads, staying top of mind to the leads. And then once you're converting, then you start filling the bucket more. Now you're going to be overloaded. Now you're going to have a wait list for your program because there's too many people, right? And so that's the basis of it. So let's go ahead and dive in. So now that you understand hopefully understand the pipeline, here's the hierarchy that we go. So if we want to be able to offer 3 calls a day, or have 10 meaningful conversations to start 30 chats, like this is kind of like the hierarchy that we're using. So these are 15 ways to book calls on demand. I'm going to kind of rush through these. So I'll go ahead and post this link in the description so you can feel free to have it. This is our personal SOPs. So if you use Instagram, obviously just exchange this out for any other Instagram things, but it's all the same. And so when we start our day and we're looking for like, how can we get to the 3 call offers goal? Well, we're going to start at the top, right? We're going to look for inbound messages with keywords or referral introductions. And a little pro tip here is those are going to likely be found in message request folders. I can't tell you how many clients that I've like showed this to, and they're like, holy crap, they've had like leads like asking about their program sitting in message request folder for like months. So definitely check that. And then we have like follow-ups from maybe calls that you offered the day before, or conversations that you were having like the day before that are incomplete. Or one of the pieces of content we teach is called a raise hands post. And so like these are just any kind of content that you pretty much have that like has a great call to action to it, a great hook and call to action where people typically like ask for things. Like you're going to have a bunch of these. So typically we can book a lot of calls just from these 4 things alone, right? But then there's other ways to do it. So, obviously this goes from like hot down to like cold. But, you might have people that attended like a live training or commented on your call to actions, or, people that are like new to your world. Maybe you have new group members or you have new friends. And I'll share with you what we call a market research script in just a moment. You might have like Facebook or Instagram stories, just kind of looking for new faces, people responding to your polls. Older posts, you can go back to that where people like raise their hand for like a lead magnet or for training or for something like that. Right? And you can see it goes all the way down to a bit more colder, like current group members, new friends that have been added, commenters and likes, current friends list, past clients, friends, etc. So these are 15 ways. And like, if you can go through all 15 of these and still not be able to book calls, then, just being real, you either have a mindset block, and that's totally fine because you're human, or B, your just strategy is completely off. Like, anybody here should be able to book at least 5 to 7 calls a week, even as a newbie, using these processes, right? So this has been one of our secret hierarchies to being able to create so much revenue off of a small audience. And now, lastly, what I want to show to you are some reach out scripts, okay? And so now that you have hopefully an understanding of the pipeline and of the hierarchy, like here are different ways to go about actually booking more calls and signing more clients from this. Is you're going to have like a cold to hot list, right? This makes sense? And so if you in your pipeline can just make sure that these are organized to where, like maybe these are strangers you have never messaged. And I don't really do the whole cold DMing thing. It's just, to me, it's just, there's so much volume that you have to put in for such little return. And so when I say strangers, I mean like friends on your Facebook page, or followers on your Instagram, or followers on your Facebook, or group members. These people that you haven't actually talked with before, but they're still like a friend or a follower, right? Then, a little bit warmer would be people that have engaged with your content, but they're not yet in conversation. Then you have people in convo, but haven't booked. People that book call, but didn't show but didn't buy, past clients, current clients that you can ask for referrals with. Again, going back to the hierarchy. So depending on the lead warmth or your current level of relationship with a person, you can literally go indirect, where you're essentially, I'll show you some scripts. You're basically just like staying top of mind and giving more value, nurturing, right? Or you can go more direct and just like offer them, and you'll be surprised at how many people will buy. So indirect, if the conversation is just getting started, obviously you want to connect, build rapport, and then you can move to more of your sales script. Direct would be like straightforward with your message and ask an offer related question, which I'll show some examples over. So, and a couple of ways you can do this indirect. Indirect, you can either literally just pop in and just be like, hey, it's been a while. I just saw your post on XYZ. You can get like very personal with that person and just open up the connection again. Or a couple of the ways that you could do it. Number one is what we call the market research approach. So these are for like anybody that you already have a connection with on your Facebook page, Instagram, whatever. You can shoot them a message and be like, hey, first name, out of curiosity, I'm in the process of creating new trainings or creating a new resource or whatever it is that's authentic for you, and say, I would love to make this as impactful as possible for you and for the rest of like my audience. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions to see what would be most helpful? So like it's insane how many people reply because there's something directly in it for them, right? So that's an amazing approach. And we have this whole strategy inside the In-Demand Coach called the Market Research DM strategy. And I kind of outline it all, but like just understand as an opener, you can easily open that up and then you can lead people down into your sales process, right? The other way that you could do this, and this is what we do more commonly, is anybody that is, and let me show you this funnel again, or this pipeline rather. So anybody that's like on this side of the funnel, like the top side here, pretty much like what you could do is just anytime you come out with a new training, ebook, resource of any kind, just shoot them a message and just be like, hey, first name, I just came out with this new training on XYZ to help people get XYZ result. Do you want me to send you the link? And what you're doing there is you're staying top of mind and you're continually reopening conversations, right? This is how you manage a pipeline really, really well. You see what I'm saying? And eventually people you're going to earn their trust, number one, and they're going to start seeing you as that thought leader. And there's going to be that reciprocity be built because you've just given so much, right? So that's another way to do it. Now, on the bottom half here, where you see like it's a bit hotter, right? You've got like, follow-ups and past clients and your hot list, people that have booked calls with you. This is where you could be a little bit more direct. And some of the ways that I like to be direct are, if you've already had a call with somebody and you know what their objection was, you can, say something along the lines of like, hey, we're testing something new this week that's going to help you overcome this objection, right? I know that you were saying that blank was stopping you. Like, we've got this new way, right? So obviously whatever's authentic for you and whatever the objection was, you could do that with people that have like booked calls, or they have been far enough in the conversation with you already that you kind of already know what their objection was. Another way that works really well direct is, and we've done this many times, is just simply reaching out to people that we knew were on the fence, or people that were on like our hot list or past clients, and just saying like, hey, I'm super curious, first name, I hope you don't mind me asking this, but we just currently made a few upgrades to our program and I'm going to be making some more. And so out of curiosity, like what would it need to look like for us to make it a no-brainer to work together? Dude, you'd be so surprised at how many people are like, I just need accountability, or I just needed a nutrition plan. You're like, dude, I got you. Like, I got you with that. That's like what I do, right? But sometimes people just don't know, and they weren't ready at one point, but now they are. And so just by making direct offers to your hotter list, people that you've already built rapport with, already given a lot of value to, you'd be shocked at how many people say yes. So, those are some ways, and this is essentially like, so let's go ahead and recap this. How I've been able to generate so much revenue from a small audience. And no matter if you have a small or big audience, if you just want to increase the amount of calls that you book, clients that you sign, and cash flow that you collect, number one, it's understanding that you got to do better with the lead that you got. If you're following the old school ways of just buy or die and they just go into a list and you stop following up with them, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And so managing your pipeline, not the DMs. If you're just jumping into your DMs trying to manage that, it's going to be challenging. So you want to manage a pipeline. There's plenty of softwares out there. If you want some recommendations, just shoot me a message or drop in the comments, and I'm happy to share what we use. And then there's a 3-10-30 rule. Like, your job is not to have a bazillion conversations. Your job is to actually offer calls to people, since that's what you're trying to get clients, right? And if you don't have those people to offer calls to, because you don't have a content system like we teach in In-Demand Coach, then what you might have to do is have 10 meaningful conversations, which is going to happen even if you have a bomb-ass content system. You're still going to have conversations. But you don't need to have a bajillion. We find that 10 is the good amount to be able to get into a position to offer 3 calls. And if you don't have 10 meaningful conversations, then you should just, get the In-Demand Coach systems. little plug, shameless plug. No, but you should have 30 chat starts. And if you have 30 chat starts from your warmer audience, then you should be in a position to have 10 meaningful conversations to then be able to offer 3 calls. All right. At least when you're following like authentically, like I'm just being real here. I can't speak for anybody else out there, but when you're following our systems and strategies, like we've optimized our processes for this, right? And this will put you in a position to be able to get to between what we find 7 to 14 calls a week. Some people, some clients that do like 20, 30, 40 calls a week, they have a bit bigger audiences and more time in the game. But even if you're like right now, you're under 30K per month, like just getting to like a good, 7 to 14 calls a week will give you the ability to get to like 20 to 30K per month cash collected, right? And so anyways, my friend, I hope you found this video immensely valuable. And if you did, and if you found this helpful, click the like button and make sure to subscribe to this channel for more. And feel free to scroll the channel. We've got plenty of content. Literally, we have full crash courses on like content campaigns, on, our social tribe funnel, pretty much everything we put on this channel to make this super helpful and valuable to you. So make sure to click the like, subscribe. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day. Your message matters now more than it ever has before. Don't be afraid to speak it.